Hi, I'm Tammy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to be creating some earrings with my Xtool M1. I will be using the Xtool Creative Space software, and I will be utilizing the latest updated release that gives us better functions of the outline feature, and I'll be discussing those more in detail when we get started with our project. Please be sure to subscribe and to like this channel so you'll be updated when I post new videos. Always be sure to give me any feedback you have. I am new to this process. I am just learning it as well. So I just want to share with you what I've learned along the way, and feel free to share with me what you've learned as well. So let's go ahead and jump into our project. We are in Xtool Creative Space now. This is the software that Xtool provides for us to utilize with the M1. We're going to want to go to settings, and I want you to check the software version that you are on. My current version is v1.1.19. That is the latest version. If you don't have this version, go ahead and hit check updates, and you're going to download that and install it before you continue. And the reason for this is because the latest version of the software has the ability to do outlining on the exterior as well as the interior of a graphic, and we need that for today's project. I'll switch to inches when I'm reviewing my size. Okay, I have selected a couple of graphics that I located in Canva. I like to use Canva, and today I'm using the free version of Canva. I do utilize a paid Canva account on a monthly basis just because I use it so much I can warrant the expense. So let's go over to Canva real quick, and we're going to go to projects. And these are the two graphics that I picked. You can go in and create a new design. It can be anything for this purpose. Sometimes I use the A4, sometimes I use a Facebook post, but you can just go ahead and create your new project, and then I'll show you how you can find some graphics. Now, if you find a graphic that has a crown next to it that you like, but you aren't, let's go into elements and then graphics. Okay, let's see all of these. If you find something that says pro, you're not able to utilize that without paying for it. So you can purchase it on a one-by-one basis. It's $1 per item. So just keep that in mind. The one thing you can't do with a free account is you cannot export a graphic as an SVG, which is really kind of cool when you first start with Xtool. So it's already set up to be an SVG if you do have the pro version. So it's something you might want to think about, but you can also get around that. So we'll do it without today. So I found this really cool bee that I like. It is free. If you're ever wondering about what the licensing agreement is for a specific graphic, you just click the three dots up here in the right-hand corner and hit I, and you can read all about what you can and cannot do with this graphic. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just export this by itself. I'm going to download it. And I'm going to download it as a PNG, which is what the default is. We can't make it transparent without having the pro account as well. You can see the crown next to the feature, but we will get around that too. I'll show you a shortcut. Okay, let's go ahead and download this. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I want to get, I can do the teardrop, or I can go ahead and do the bezel. So this is basically what we want to make over in Xtool, but since this is a pro option, I'm not going to pay for it here. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a regular teardrop. I've already put that in another project, but we'll just go ahead and drop it in here. And I want to export these as individual items. It just makes it easier to work with them over in Xtool. Okay, let's go ahead and hit share and download. Okay, so both those items are downloaded. Now we can come over here. The only thing you can open in Xtool with file open is any of the Xtool Creative Space files that you create or you download from the projects tab, which is right up here. When you're first starting out, you want to check out that tab. There's lots of cool designs to get you started on your first project. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to import these images. On both of these, a white background, which is not going to be super conducive to us outlining them. If we just outline them at this point, it's only going to outline the exterior. Okay, so we're going to have to edit these images. So let's go ahead and do the B first. Okay, since this is just a white background, it doesn't really matter about the fuzziness for this. It would be more if I was getting into detailed removal, such as maybe this black area. So if I do this black area, you'll see it will kind of like go a little overboard. So I'm going to undo that. Okay, so the default for the magic wand is 40. You're going to want to play with this. If you have a large area like this, it's not going to matter as much about the fuzziness setting. But if you get into detail of removing smaller spaces, you are going to want to probably lower this. Just remember, you can always hit your undo button up here if you don't like the results. And once you get more comfortable with it, you won't have to do that on a regular basis. We'll just go ahead and stick with 40 for now. We'll click it and it's removed all of the background. I'm happy with that. And we're going to save it. Please keep in mind when you save right here, you're not saving the file to your computer. You're actually just saving it back to your workspace. Let's do the same thing here on our teardrop. And I am happy with that. I don't care about the color in this teardrop because I am just using this as a template and we're going to just outline it and use the outline and not the actual graphic on both of these actually. Okay, let's go ahead and do the teardrop first. That's our easy one and we're going to outline this. Now, the outline distance determines how close the offset is for your outline. So if I go to 0, it's going to be right around the outside. If I want a little bit of space in between, then I'm going to offset it to like 2 or 3 perhaps. This is comes in really handy when you want to create a bezel around something. Okay, let's just do 0 for this to start off with. Okay, and that's what I want out of this. Now I can just delete this graphic by highlighting it and hitting the delete button. Now we're going to do the same thing with the B, but this is going to take a few passes for us to get all the detail that we want out of this because we're going to do the outside and the inside of this graphic. So let me go ahead and select the B. If I went ahead and did it right now, it's going to do it again for the teardrop. You always want to make sure your item is selected before you go in and start this. Okay, we're going to outline this and I'm going to do a tight cut to start off with of 0. If you have trouble moving the gauge, you can just use your keyboard. Okay, so that's going to be our first cut. That's exactly what I want. We're all good, but I want more detail. Okay, so let's go ahead and highlight the original B again. We're going to outline it and we're going to go to like -6 and see what we get. So now see, we're getting the detail on the inside of this. I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to check that out. I like that. Then I'm going to drop that on top of this one. And we can align these, but we'll do that in a little while. Let's go ahead and go back and get some more. I'm going to go down to like a negative. Let's move it up to a -2.5. Okay, we're going to get some details on the inside like that. Let's do that. If you need to move it a smaller degree than your mouse, you can always use your shift and your arrow keys to space it in a little bit. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. Let me see what else I can get out of it. Part of this is just your own creativity too, what you want to, how detailed you want to get with this. It's just kind of fun to play with it. Let's do that one, see how it looks. If I don't like it, I just delete that selection. So I'm fine with that. Let's just go ahead and go with it. Again, I'm just learning this too. So if anyone ever wants to make a suggestion, please feel free to just go ahead and jump in the comments. Let me know something that's worked for you and we can help each other. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete the B. I don't need him anymore. Now I want to make sure that these elements all stay together. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight them, and I'm going to right click and group them. So now when I click one element, it picks up all of the elements. So I'm not going to accidentally delete an interior line or some part of it. Okay, so I want to go ahead and bring this over to my teardrop just to resize it. I do want to make sure my ratios are locked up here in the size. If I unlock this, then I could skew the dimensions of the bee. So it is locked. We can go ahead and bring down the size a little. Okay, I want to tilt it a little bit smaller. I want to tilt it to make it a little bit more whimsical. Just bring it down a tad more. I don't want the legs hanging over too much. I'm okay with maybe one of them hanging over. I'm going to select both the bee and the teardrop here. I'm going to go to outline, and I'm going to go ahead and do an offset distance of 2 because I do want a little space around the actual bee. And I'm going to hit OK. And you can see that works just fine. I'm going to undo that to bring it back. And then I'm going to get rid of the inside outline. Now I could leave that inside outline in and etch it to kind of give it more of a bezel look around it. But just for simplicity for this project, we're just going to go ahead and do it like this. We'll go ahead and score the bee. I'm going to do it at about 82 and 80. 81's fine. And I'm going to do 2 passes on that. My thickness of my wood is going to be 2.8. I've measured it with electronic calipers. I recommend you invest in some electronic calipers. I put a link to a pair that I use in the comments. It makes you more successful if you know exactly how thick your wood is before you start. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut the outside bezel, but what's missing here? I have no way to hang this earring. So I have 1 of 2 ways I can do this. I can just put a circle here in the middle, and I just want to make sure that I have a ring that's big enough to hang this or some kind of bezel. If you put it in the body, you just want to be a little bit careful about that. But I can go ahead and insert a shape and put a bezel up here at the top. Okay, let's go ahead and use a circle for this. Now, circle is also in the insert as well, and I'm going to size it down. And then I'm going to bring it here to the top, and I'm going to overlay that. Make it a little bit smaller. And what I want to do is I want to align the teardrop and the circle on top to make sure that they're lined up perfectly. So I'm going to align those, and I'm going to align them horizontally. Okay, and then I'm going to combine them so that they become one piece. And I'm going to unite these 2 pieces. And so now I have a nice solid bezel up there. It looks like it's going to be pretty secure. Actually, I think I'm going to drop it just a tad because I want it a little bit further down. So let me drop it just a little bit more. Remember, undo is your friend for things like this. And I'm going to align horizontally, and then I'm going to unite these 2. Okay, that's even better. See, that's a little bit more solid because I don't want this to break off. Then we're going to go ahead and insert 1 more circle in the middle. And I want this to be dimensional, so I'm going to unlock this circle, and I'm going to make it 6 and 6. See how that size works. Let me relock those so I don't have, I've got to highlight it first, relock it so I don't skew it when I move it. Okay, so once you click it, if you just click and hold down your mouse button, then you can grab it. Let's go ahead and align these 2 again for the outside and the inside. Align it, and we're going to align it horizontal. I want to make it sure it's perfectly lined up, and I'm good with that. So we're going to cut the outside, and we're going to cut the inside. So let's go ahead and highlight both of those, switch to cut. We're going to do 100 and we're going to do 5. Those are my normal settings for 2.8 bassword that I'm using. And I am happy with that. But wait, we only have one earring, so we need a second one. So let's go ahead and copy and paste this. Now, the problem with just copying and pasting a second one, they're both going the same way. And we kind of want it to be inverted so that they kind of look at each other. Okay, we're going to highlight all of this earring and we're going to do reflect. And we want to reflect it horizontally because we want to just flip it. Perfect. Now they're looking at each other and that's more normal for a set of earrings. Okay, lastly, I want to size these. How big are these? Well, if you can think in millimeters, good for you. I can't. So I'm going to switch the settings to inches. Okay, and this is height of 3.831, which is way too big in my opinion for earrings. If you can sport those, go right ahead. But I need something more in the 1.5 range, I think. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and process these. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to switch back to millimeters to double check my settings. 2.8 triangular prisms. Let's hit process. Okay, this is your most important screen in my opinion, because this tells you exactly what's going to happen. Now, let's say for some reason, let's go back for 1 second. Let's say for some reason, I don't want to cut out the bezel. If I click that, I can just turn that output on and off. And then when I come over here, you'll see that bezel is not going to cut, but this circle is. So this is really important to really look at this screen and make sure everything that you want to have happen is going to happen. And of course, that's easier to do with a smaller project, but it's more important with a bigger project. Okay. See here, I'm going to put these up in the corner just a little bit more. I don't need to frame this because I have plenty of space, but when you're new, you probably want to frame because what that does is just walks the footpath of what's going to happen. So you make sure that you're not going to have something overhang off the side of your wood. Let's hit process, review this one more time. Everything's going to happen that I want to have happen. If I wanted to frame it at this point, I go ahead and hit framing, but I don't need to. So I'm just going to go ahead and start the process. Okay, once I've started it, I want to go hit my button. Nothing's going to happen until I hit this button. Do not leave your device unattended when it's working. It's important you are in attendance of your machine at all times. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with our cutting. Okay, so we want to start the machine. See how cute those turned out? Now we can just pop that little hole out. It just is kind of in there. We just push it out with a little X-Acto knife, but it has cut through. Okay, and then we go ahead and paint or stain these and get them ready to make earrings with. Okay, we're going to come back here. We're going to hit done and we're going to be sure to save this file so we can use it again. So we're just going to do File, Save As. We're going to pick a file name, save it to the location that works for you, hit save, and you are done. I stained the wood with some Americana gel stain. It is available in 3 different colors, and I have included a link to it down in the comments. I came back in with some Sharpie acrylic paint pens and added some gold highlights to the bees, and then added hardware to finish off the earrings. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you will be notified when I post new videos. Have a great day.